Ready?
Yeah.
All right. I will call the April 16th, 2024 Cambridge City Town Council meeting to order. And we'll start by standing for opening prayer and pledge of allegiance.
Well, Father in heaven, we thank you for the beautiful day. We thank you for your guidance and your protection. Lord, we pray your continued blessings on this community we love. Lord, give us wisdom and patience. And Lord, may our words and our actions bring you honor and glory. Lord, we pray all this in the precious name of your Son, Jesus. And all those in agreement say, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sheriff, you want to do the roll call?
Jim Crane.
Here.
Mike Amick.
Here.
Debbie McKinley. Here. Gary Cole.
Here.
And Jim King.
Here. Does everybody have a chance to review the minutes from last month?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Sherry, did you make that a change?
I did, yes, I did.
Second. Have a motion and a second for approval of last month's minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. And we look at the claims.
I'll make a motion, we accept the claims.
Seconded.
Have a motion and a second for approval of the claims. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's passed. And the financials.
I'll make a motion, we accept the financials.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for approval of the financials. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's passed. We have no public hearing tonight. And we go to our guests, and it starts with Darlena Roberts, and I don't see her here.
That was her brother. She called and said she was coming.
She did say she's coming.
Yeah.
Well, we will
Maybe she'll be
go on to the next guest. If she shows up, we'll come back to her. Jason DeBoo from Co-Alliance.
Yes. Hello. How are you? No, we met once before, and we were going to get some questions answered and get you guys a quote as far as the software system to get your fuel set up at the maintenance building. Yeah. So Chief Roberts and I have emailed back and forth a few times, got some quote together, that kind of thing. The only thing we weren't sure of on the system is if you guys had internet over at the building or not. If not, it's a little bit more than what the quote was, but they could set it up on a cellular system to where as long as whoever's using it or getting fuel there has a smartphone, Apple, Android, whatever, that they can scan their phone and be able to access it, and it'll keep track and record in the cloud as far as fuel used, reports, things of that nature. So a couple different options as far as that goes. You could go the internet route, it'll directly download everything, or you can go the cellular route where you kind of just scan your phone, it'll say, okay, Chief Roberts is getting fuel or whatever the case may be as far as that goes. So again, no charge to you all as far as any tanks that you're going to need, things of that nature. The only thing that we do charge for outside the fuel would be the software system, and that I know is one of the biggest reasons you guys are kind of looking for it, other than convenience of having fuel there rather than having to go to stations or what have you, but the convenience of being able to keep better records as far as the fuel that's being used and that kind of thing.
So did we get an
How much is
actual
this
quote?
software? No.
So the quote was for the software was $39.90. Any questions on that?
Is that like one time?
Yes, correct. Yeah, it's a one-time, and you'll own the software no matter what. So if I don't know, 2 years from now, you're like, you know what, we're gonna buy from somebody else, we'll simply remove the software system off of the tanks and stuff, and you guys still own the software. It's not a, hey, if you decided not to do the fuel route later on or whatever, then we just take it back. You guys own it at that point, and that's kind of why we offer it to you for sale versus providing it for you, just because it's a Once you own it, you have all your stuff in it. It's yours. It's your information. That kind of thing.
So
But we do have a person that would come out, do training, show you how to. We'll set it up and then show you how to use it, and then same thing to download reports to where you can say, okay, between this date and this date, the fire department got this much fuel, the police department got this much fuel, and it won't go just by departments, it'll actually be by user. So, whether it's the chief or deputy, or I don't know the exact structure, but, or what have you, it'll go through and you can download those reports pretty easily, keep it on file, that kind of thing, so.
So we still have the option, if we don't want to go with the software, we can still do the tanks and just record it manually.
Absolutely, and that, if you go that route again, we would provide the tanks for you, the pumps, the whole 9 yards. We're not certified electricians, so I know you guys have one of those, so we would set them out there. All you'd have to do is connect the electric, and then the only thing you'd be paying for at that point is the fuel. So, I mean, that's the system, the software system is not a 100% must, you gotta do it. It's an option that you have to maybe help with better record keeping. Now, I know obviously moving everything out there and having it in one central location, obviously that'll probably be easier to keep records anyway, but this is just a service that we offer through a third party to, better record keeping and easier use as far as that goes.
So maybe talk to him a little bit about how the contract works, if we do the contract, or how that works.
So one of the things the chief had asked me is, do we have a set price, or is it, move, or how does that work? And so I'll reference like the city of Richmond. We do all the fuel business for the city of Richmond, and they contract every year, usually in December or January, and they contract for the full year. It's not necessarily a tool to try to beat the market. Okay, yeah, you win some, you lose some. It's more for, especially with the city, it's more of a budgeting tool to say, okay, we know exactly what we're going to spend on fuel, period. So I would tell you right now that the spot market or cash market, the daily pricing, which fluctuates with the market every single day, is a better way to go right now than I wouldn't recommend any contracts right now. Too much going on in the Middle East, things of that nature that are causing very, very high futures prices for crude oil. So not something I would do this year in terms of the contracting, but you will have that option in the future, and we'll show you that. So a lot of the bigger cities that I deal with, they'll come, say, bid time and want to fix for the year. And so we'll come in and we'll start talking about it in the fall and say, okay, the market price or the fixed price for January through December for a calendar year is this, for your gas, for your diesel, what have you, or this is what the cash market's showing. And again, we still give you that option. Hey, we don't have as much as we'd like to think we're experts in the field, we don't have a crystal ball. So we'd like to at least show you what your options are, let you make that decision. But again, with the the cities, the towns, things like that, I mean, it's more of a budgeting tool than anything. Just to, if you're limited on, what you want to spend, we've got this much budgeted for fuel this year, it's a way to lock that cost in.
So I can't remember from the previous meeting, how's the billing done then?
30 days, 30-day terms as
So you
far
just
as.
do a monthly bill?
Absolutely.
And have you given us any kind of written proposal or anything like that, or
As far as the fuel is
on the
concerned,
whole program, I guess, is what I'd like to see. Is
We got an email that just had basically the software cost in it, but everything else,
Because
everything virtually no cost.
yeah, nothing else has a cost to it outside, the cost of the fuel.
But
We did, go ahead.
what about liability, ownership, return of tanks, all the things that have to do with the placement?
Yes.
Who has responsibility for them?
So we do in terms of making sure that the equipment you have is certified as far as that goes. We'd set new tanks out here, we'd set used tanks. We always use double wall tanks for any type of government entity. So the double wall tanks are what's regulated by the state of Indiana, IDEM, to make sure that it's basically a tank inside a tank. And the best way I can explain it is think of a hard-boiled egg. You've got the white yolk, or the yellow yolk, you got the white outside. That tank will leak inside of itself, and we have a gauge on it that basically fills up. If there was ever a leak, there's no possible way, unless somebody I suppose, drilled a hole or drove through it or whatever for it to leak, as far as that goes, rust or whatever the case may be. So we set out, the equipment that we set out is going to be new, and it's going to be, certified as far as what the
But it's
state's
insured by
concerned.
you or insured by us?
So it will be insured by you. It's I
Part
mean,
of our facility.
correct. But I mean, as far as the equipment, from a manufacturer's defect standpoint, of course, we would, cover anything like that. But yeah, that's.
And we know the bollards or whatever we have to put around it.
You don't specifically in the state of Indiana. The only time you have to put ballards out is if you're in a super high traffic location, close to a school, those kind of things. I would recommend it just because, better safe than sorry. Accidents happen, all that good stuff, but it's not required. And we'll be responsible for the service and maintenance on the tanks as well. And what I mean by that is if, they come out once a year, change out the filters, as far as that goes, the gas and diesel. If you ever had an issue, the pump stopped working or whatever, you call us, we send a service tech out, he takes care of it. Again, none of that's any cost to you whatsoever.
So right now we get the fuel tanks we have currently are in between the two buildings here. And so if we decide to do this, I think we should make it down to the Miller building on the south side. There's an open parking lot there that allows access for the fire trucks for one thing. It'd be difficult for them to get in and out of here to get fuel. So I think it'd be a better central location. And there is electric on the south side of the building there. It's already there. It'd just be a matter of going through the wall with it, I think. But
Is that right? You mean to the east, right next to the church? Or
on the south side of the building.
on the south side?
Yeah.
Not the side.
Yeah. Be easy access for fire trucks or whatever too. So if that's what we want to do. We've talked about this for 5 years on and off about doing, looking at this, and we finally got around to getting a representative here to talk about it. So
It's a great budgeting tool. I know the schools do this a lot with natural gas. They lock in the price for a year, and things like that. So
But I don't think he's talking about locking in the price, or not locking in.
I wouldn't recommend it right now.
not
Just
right now, but
with
you
where
can
the
lock in a
market is,
price.
but
You can lock in a price annually, right?
And lots of, like I said, government entities such as yourself do that, again, from a budget.
But it's up to us. We can make a decision
100%.
at any point in time, or do we have to wait
Yes.
for? Okay.
No, absolutely. If you ask one day, or a lot of the times I have several school districts, government entities such as yourself, that kind of thing, that I put on kind of like a reminder list. So if we see certain things happening in the market where we'll call our growers, like the farmers and stuff, or we'll call some of the cities and things like that and be like, hey, stuff's creeping down, futures contracts look good. And you don't even have to, when I just said a few minutes ago, you don't even have to lock in a full year. If we said, hey, contracts look good for the next 6 months, so let's contract, here's your rate versus cash market. The following 6 months in that fiscal year, you can just use the cash price or the cash market price as far as that goes. So it's not a specific, hey, you have to do a 12-month and you have to do, X number of gallons.
Right. Okay.
What would be the capacity of the tanks?
So I think based on what we were talking about, I think we were looking at somewhere between the smallest tank being a 300-gallon tank, the largest maybe being a 1,000-gallon tank, depending on which,
So I went through an average for the last year, the police department fuel, the fire department gas, and the fire department diesel. I was not able to do cans because it's separate, then they don't go to the gas station to get there. Currently, they get it back here, so I don't remember what that total was, but so we did a year-long average, and that's what he's basing that off of.
And I have a driver through here. Depending on the room you have or whatever, we can size the tanks accordingly, but I have a driver that's through here 3 times a week, this area, so wouldn't be an issue whatsoever.
So we would get a contract with you for this, right? Is it a contract?
If that's what
Yeah.
council wanted to do.
In terms of the pricing of the fuel, yes, but as far as with us being co-alliance, no, there's no contract with us like where you don't have to sign saying I'm going to do this for X number of years or anything like that. If we set up the system, you guys decide to go with the software or without, whichever way you go. If 6 months into this, you're like, you know what, it was better going to the fuel station, it was better having it behind here, I don't see that happening. But if it does, you're more than welcome to say, hey, come get your stuff, we're going to go a different route. There's no, oh, sorry, you already signed for this many months. We don't We're local. I mean, you know, we've it used to be Harvest Land Co-op. Before that, it was the individual county co-ops, and we've merged over the years and gotten bigger. And that's only because of buying power. You know, it helps us get cheaper prices for our, you know, customers as far as that goes. But no, we're still local. The guy who's going to deliver the fuel lives, you know, 20 minutes from here. We pull all of our fuel out of the Richmond bulk plant. He travels up and down. I mean, we're not here to have you sign the dotted line and have prepayment penalties or anything like that. We want to still be your local mom and pop, even though we're a little bigger now.
Yeah. I like the idea.
So we would save money that which you would normally pay at the service station. Overall, we would save money per gallon with this program.
I will say most of the time, yes. I mean, the market depending. The difference with the gas station is they're going out buying it 8,000 gallons or a semi truck at a time versus the smaller trucks. So most of the time, yes, there's a savings. More convenience would be, you know, your saving time, saving, you know, effort, saving a lot of other things. But in most cases, you know, dollar bill wise, yes, you're going to be saving.
Automated reports would be nice to have.
Right.
One of the issues we're facing now, sometimes we go to the gas station, for us anyway, and they may be closed and nobody there, so if the pump doesn't print out a receipt, we don't have a receipt, and so that's happening pretty frequently, actually. So that would be one benefit of doing it this way versus, you know, still going to the gas station. I don't think Jeff and them have that big a problem.
My biggest problem though is just having, I like the software, because I know where the fuel's at. I know who got it. We don't have lost receipts. We're not trying to chase receipts around. Jeremy trying to figure out who got what fuel and who stuck it in their pocket or dropped it.
And your amount is so low, and if you guys have several fires, you go over your amount,
Yeah.
hurry and pay your bill before it's,
Right.
you know, so you can charge more gas.
Yeah, so we really, the software that was my main push to want to do this, was to have the software so we could track it. And I know who put the fuel in what truck. You know, so, yeah. It don't end up somewhere it's not supposed to be, which we don't really think, no, we've ever had that problem, but it is a safety for that. We know where it went.
Oh, I think if you're gonna do it, you ought to get the software. It could be beneficial in the long run.
If we had to get internet down there, it shouldn't be that big.
What's there should work. I thought there was still internet down there. So explain to them real quickly how if we pull up to the pump, how it determines who's doing what.
Okay, so a couple different options as far as that goes. So if you're gonna be able to have the internet there, then it's gonna be as simple as each vehicle, if you deem it to be per vehicle or by user, as far as that goes, per person, per vehicle, however you do it, they'll have like a, I say it looks like a game piece, like a key fob. It's about the size of my thumb, and it's magnetic, and it scans up against each person will have their own identification number or whatever the case may be to be able to do so. And so then that's how it tracks and says, okay, Chief got 25 gallons in this particular vehicle or what have you at this said time. The other option would be if we don't go the internet route, go the cellular route. Not everybody has a smartphone, but the cellular route would be you go up and there's an app on your phone and you scan it. It's similar to the key fob. You scan it to the system. It says, okay, you know, Chief Roberts, you know, welcome. You type in his PIN or however the case may be, and then, you know, it accesses the system at that point. So, but again, each transaction then, no matter how big or small, will be registered, and there's no way to access it without, whether we go the cellular route or the internet route. Internet would be cheaper, but there's no way for anybody to access that system. I mean, somebody could go up and hit buttons all day long, and it's not going to turn on unless you have, you know, one of those key fobs or what have you. Yeah.
That's what we basically identify what trucks getting fuel.
Yeah.
So
That's something we can set up and control through the software. So.
Well, and too, you know, when you get into that situation, if you, I don't know what your turnover rate is, but if you hire or fire, whatever the case may be, it's very easy to go in the system and delete out an old fob, even if somebody doesn't give it back to you. You know, if they take it like, oh, I'm going to get fuel later, we can go in and just delete that user, and that fob is, you know, useless.
I like having a fob on the vehicle.
Yeah.
So you send an invoice to me, and then I have to match up everybody's
We can,
13 or 14 of them,
we can
to make
print out a
sure
report.
that it goes and matches what you invoice.
Yeah, so we will send, so the way we do it is when the driver delivers fuel, he'll leave a ticket just showing, hey, I put 100 gallons in the gas tank, I put 200 gallons in
Leave
the
a
diesel
ticket
tank.
there, but I'm here, so,
Right, he'll leave a ticket there, but you'll get a monthly statement
okay.
from the office. So the drivers still do tickets when they deliver, just so you know, you're not waiting until the end of the month to be like, how much fuel did we use this month? You know, he's leaving that ticket to say, okay, you know, I got a delivery today and it's for this much. As far as the gallons go, it's not going to say, okay, well, we paid this per gallon, et cetera. You guys or whoever we need to send it to will get a monthly invoice and it'll break down this much diesel, this much gasoline, et cetera. Then yes, whether it be the chief or whatever the case may be, can pull those reports for you to be able to match those and say, okay, this is how much fuel we use per month, this is how much they delivered. Keep in mind, it's not always gonna match. The reason I say that is because if we deliver 1,000 gallons in a month, whatever the product is, and you guys only use 500, well, of course, you still have 500 in the tank, you know what I mean? But
So what if no one's there when they do deliver the fuel to get the ticket?
they can put it in a mail slot, they can put, I mean, you'd be surprised at the places we put those tickets, but it's more of an old school, we've always been that way. Not everybody does that anymore, but it's just, you know, the drivers like to say, okay, here's what you got today. Again, doesn't have a price on it, doesn't have anything like that, it's just saying how many gallons you got, you know, and that way you know.
Put a box down there or something for them to put it in. Or there's a door you can slide into the door.
Yeah, I was gonna say, any of that stuff. I mean, we got one place that there's a little, I call it a mail slot. You don't even slip it through. He just puts it in. It's got a little lid on it. I mean, however,
I think as long as I can match it up to, you know, who gets paid out of general, who gets paid out of water.
Sure.
For, I think, on their reports, I think it'll be okay.
Well, and that's the thing. And we would have somebody come out once the system is installed. Well, actually, they would come out and install the system, but then they would give kind of a once over of the system and always be available in the event that you're like, man, I forget how they did that. Always got support as far as that's concerned, but they would come out and show you how to, when we're setting up the key fobs or whatever for each department, we'll be like, okay, the police department has P123, that's their numbers or whatever. Fire department's F123, whatever. And then when you're pulling those reports, you can say, okay, here's all my Fs, here's all my Ps, and we know, you know, what specific areas, you know, it's going to as far as that.
Yeah, that'll work.
Well, I think personally, I'd like to see, I mean, I don't want to make a decision today because I'd like to review the proposal again, and I'd like to see the written quote on the software.
Okay.
I feel like sometimes we jump to, I'd like to see written quotes on everything. So I guess what I would recommend is let's take a month to review the proposal again, get the quote, and then make a decision next month. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Just give me a formal quote.
Yes, perfect. And I'll send that over, and I'll even, you know, highlight in there that, you know, the contracting stuff is available. I'll put in there that, of course, there's no cost for the tanks or the equipment. You know, obviously, you'll know that it's ours, but, you know, if you guys do buy the software system, that will be inclusive, you know, that it's yours, you own it.
Okay.
I'll put together something formal and get it out to you. And I also, I was telling Chief earlier, I've got they don't do I guess a paper that you can see or whatever, but I've got a link that I'll send the chief that shows you a little bit more about the software
That'd be
system.
good, yeah.
And that way he can share that with you guys and you can look at it and kind of see what it's capable of, what it does, that kind of thing.
Good.
So.
Cool.
Great. All right, then we'll table that for next month.
Okay. Sure. Yep.
Okay. Do you already have a date and time for next month?
Yes, it is, I can't see the calendar, it's May 2nd Monday.
Okay.
Everybody, can you see that, Seth?
May 13th.
13th, yeah, May 13th. Thank you. 6 o'clock.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome to leave if you like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and I see Ms. Roberts is here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So you have the floor.
so the guy that was interested in buying the property, that fell through, but my daughter, she wants to buy one property, and my brother, he's gonna buy the other property, and we're gonna fix them up. but I don't know how all this works.
Well, I think what was requested was a bill of sale for those properties, as well as a proposal on how, a timeline on when that was gonna happen.
And I've got to get to the lawyer this next week to do all that.
We couldn't get an appointment until this next week, because we didn't decide until the 15th. Because he called us on Saturday, and so then on Sunday, the 15th, I think is what that date was, on Sunday is when we both had decided that we would go ahead and purchase them. So really, she's only had a couple days to even.
So you understand, buying the property it's still under the same, it's still, in our opinion, considered unsafe, and it's still gonna move forward unless you can somehow convince us that you're gonna do something to
Well, as soon as we can get to that lawyer, we can turn that into,
The letter of intent that you were wanting.
to your office this next week or whatever.
You're just talking about the bill of sale.
Yeah, bill of sale, and then the intent, I guess. I don't understand what totally you want on the intent, but
Well, and Bob, maybe you can explain this better than me, but
Well, right now, you have ordered that it is an unsafe structure, both of them, and the remedy is total destruction of it. And so the burden on them is to show that they're going to make some kind of improvements that would no longer require that total destruction. And to date, of course, we still don't see anything.
So that's.
I did a letter of intent on the computer, but but it just is, it said, where it says we have 90 days to get a loan with it.
90 days, that's a long financial contingency.
well, it isn't gonna take that long.
But then we would have 6 months after that to get.
Actually, the bill of sale can be done when we go to the lawyer.
It would actually be a deed on a real estate transaction.
Yeah.
Bill of sale. And I think it's going to have to satisfy council, not only show that there is a sale involved, but what are the improvements to be made? When are they to be made? How can you justify keeping those buildings?
Well, a lot of it is we don't understand that what you're saying, especially the little house, how it is considered unsafe. There's not really, there's.
I think there were trees growing inside of the building. That oftentimes is a problem.
Ken, can you answer that?
Holes on the roof, the siding coming off of it, the fire damage. It's just, there's a lot, like I said, you walk around there, on both houses, the siding's coming off. And then the one to the west is the one that was on fire, and there's the fire damage from there, which then the heat of that caused, damage to the other house.
And they've been vacant for a number of years now, and we all know what happens with vacant homes, as they deteriorate.
Yeah. Well, like I said,
I've got people lined up already about, I've got an individual who, he was supposed to come and do a quote on the roof today, but he wasn't finished with his roofing job, so he couldn't, so he's coming this next week to give me a quote on the roof. And then, because like as soon as we decided on the 15th, then I tried to get the ball rolling. I've got 2 individuals who already talked about that they would help me with the demolition. Today I discussed it with them.
not tearing the house down, but getting it ready.
Getting ready to rebuild, rebuild and improve it.
What attorney are you utilizing that you're going to see if you can share?
Say it again.
What attorney are you seeing that you have your appointment with?
He's downtown, I forget his name. Hold on, let me look. Baldwell.
Baldwell? I'm not sure of any Baldwell in this county.
It's Connors.
In Connersville,
Yeah.
okay.
comments from anybody?
So basically, so with yours, Chris, he's wanting the siding off that's fallen off. We're gonna pick up the items that are laying in the yard, that we'll get the trash, that stuff taken care of.
But how come that hasn't been started? I mean, just picking up the trash or, there's, within the last month, there could have been a lot done to the house, honestly, without a sale,
Yeah, well, that guy, like I said, he didn't contact us until Saturday to let us know, so it was gonna be as is, and it was
She
gonna
did mow today. And there's some bricks in the backyard we gotta get picked up. And
and then there's like just siding that was torn off.
I mean, there's a lot to do.
That's only a piece. I mean, where we're at is that we've deemed it an unsafe building. And, I know it's been going on for months since I've been on the board here to get something done with it. And, to me, just cleaning it up's not enough. We've deemed it unsafe and we said it needs to be torn down. And you came in and really had extra time because, we moved this meeting back a week.
Yeah.
So, and we really didn't have to give you that time, but we did because we wanted to give you the opportunity to try to do something. But, here we are, you're asking for more time again, and I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I think a lot of time's already gone by.
If our meeting had been at a normal time, then the gentleman telling you that last Saturday that he wasn't going to buy the property would have already been done. I mean, we'd been past the meeting date anyhow. So, you had an extra week to get something done, and if nothing had been done all the way up until last Saturday, then I don't see where any progress has been made.
A lot of the things was gonna be his stuff to get done. I was out of town for a week and a half, so I couldn't help, but,
When I came to Cambridge, that one house burned down in September of 2019. What has happened in that time is nothing at all. And I'm so tired of going by those houses and seeing what they look like and seeing them deteriorate and knowing that the neighbors have to put up with that. They're at the end of their rope. And quite frankly, I am too. That's my opinion.
Do the parties that purchased the properties, Bob or Jim, do they then they bear the burden of their?
Oh yeah, they take it subject to that order, and there's nothing that automatically changes. They would have to come in and beg or ask that we modify our order, but otherwise our order can proceed regardless of that sale.
But the cost of tearing the homes down would be the responsibility of the property owners?
Yeah, of the property owner.
So it's important that the property owners realize that.
Let me say it this way. The remedy is their responsibility. If they fail to do it, then the town can do it. If the town does it, then you can seek reimbursement from that current property owner, and if they don't pay it, it becomes a tax lien on that property, which would affect that current new property owner.
So I just think it's important that the property owners or the potential buyers of those properties realize that they may have a
financial obligation,
a significant financial obligation to have those buildings taken down.
I got several people, and they was all like, well, $19,000 to tear them both down. You guys are at like 26 or something. That was Chad Friend in Connersville. He said they wasn't worth it. We've got offers of $1,000 to $5,000 per property. Now you got $19,000 or 26 to tear them down. On properties she's paid $30,000 for one home, and I don't know what for the other. And we're just getting offers of less than $1,000 a property to take them right now.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
And 26 to tear them down. And so what would the lots be worth? It's almost like I'm looking at you guys and it's like, here you go, or you can't sue. She's gonna be dying soon. You're not gonna get blood out of a turnip. I don't know what we're gonna do here. We're kind of in a conundrum. I could help kind of try to fix them up. you know, but I'm 65 and retired. I haven't got in my sister's business ever before, but I can. But I mean, we're at a deal here where a woman invested in your town years ago. I heard you kind of get girls about 2019. Well, she invested in your town a long time ago, put girls through your city and played basketball here and stuff. And now she's lost them. We're at a conundrum. It's gonna cost more, way more than we can. I mean, this whole thing, whatever you're doing today, is gonna cost this lady money. More than she's ever spent, more than she's got. And we're just sitting here gonna have to take it. And I'm sorry, but that's what's gonna have to happen. We have no way out of this. I don't know. It would be nice if we had some I have tried to go to every friend. Man, you wanna help fix up a house? The housing market's booming right now. I got one, my sister, we don't have to charge nothing. We could just go in there and fix it up and whatever we make, we gotta make sure we give sis some. You can make the rest, I don't care. They're nice houses in a nice neighborhood up in Cape. I can't get nobody to buy it, man. This is where we're at. It's sad. You're gonna have to just take them, I guess.
Did you get insurance money when the fire occurred?
No.
Didn't have insurance?
This is such a, we're not made of money, man. This is not. I don't know. You're just gonna have to take them. If you want them, you're gonna have to just take them because otherwise I'll try to fix them up. And we'll try to make something out of it. One's got good bones. The one to the east has good bones. The one to the west, not so much it burned. But that little one, next to the little old gray house there, that one could be fixed probably and no problem. I could get that one. Maybe possibly even tear down the other one. But as far as other than that, we've got just people wanting to give us just pennies on the dollars for the property. Evidently your property ain't worth much up there and ain't nobody really wanting to buy up here in Cambridge.
Well, it might make a difference.
And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we've done this to you. I'm so sorry that we put the burden on you to have to make these decisions. I mean, you guys shouldn't have to, but I mean, this old world's tough on people and my sister's had a lot of health problems and I'm starting to get them myself. I'm 65. I can go charge into something for about an hour or two and then I find myself sitting on a chair where I used to be able to go all day, where, just pondering about it instead of getting stuff done. But I appreciate you guys. I mean, you did. I appreciate your opinions on everything and your time. I really do. But I mean, if you want them, you're gonna have to pay to tear them down because if you try to sue her, we'll,
But otherwise, like.
I don't know what to tell you.
I want to try.
I will personally, and as long as you don't just put them in your name, I guess I'll just keep trying to fix up on them until you put them in your name or the guy pulls up with the bulldozer to take them down. But I mean, I can't fight with you. I can't argue with you. You guys are right. You are right. You are right. We're wrong.
Well, understand, we don't want the property.
I know that.
That's not what we want. But we don't want unsafe properties in town either.
Well, both of them need roofs immediately, and that's what we can get done quickly. But we gotta get to the lawyer, get the proof of sale, get the deeds transferred over.
Then get to the bank, get a loan.
May I speak?
Sure, Julie, you were on the agenda.
Well, I know 415 has been abandoned since 2009, so that's 15 years of no one living there, no one taking care of the property. We live next door and we've mowed the yard, we've tried our best to keep it up until it just became like it's a never ending. And I feel like we've been officially working on these properties with the council since June. And letter after letter after letter has been sent to this family offering them to come we had a hearing and no one showed. I feel like there's been, someone could have come from the family. It's excuse after excuse. 15 years is enough time. And We have an infestation of groundhogs that live under both of the properties and are now moving across the way to the greenhouse. I anticipate that to be a big issue because they eat landscaping, and that's all that's over there. I have pictures of 7 groundhogs at one time. So that destroy our fence and our property. Nobody's doing anything about it. It just continues to deteriorate and to become more unsafe. I don't know how you can determine a building to be unsafe and then flip it around and now it's going to be safe. If you've determined and voted that it's unsafe, and regardless of who purchases or who owns the property that it has to be torn down, how can that be overturned? Is my question. You voted on that. You said that that's the way the properties were. How it seems like last month's vote contradicts what happened the previous month.
No, it didn't actually contradict it. They just put it on hold as far as not going forward with the tearing down. They would change the order.
Okay.
I think we gave the family a good long 5-week opportunity to resolve this, and today we're hearing there isn't a resolution. There is a partial resolution, but it's that they have a little plan to sell, but that doesn't mean what we asked for actually was a plan to remedy the situation. The sale was only a portion of what we asked for, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, we actually didn't even ask for the sale. That's what they offered as far as that's how the reconstruction was going to occur, was in conjunction with the sale. We said if that's the case, then we want to see the sale documents and what was the plan to do with it.
Okay, so.
The plan, getting the roofs on.
You guys want to buy the property? I mean, we're, like I said, we've been wetting somebody to, but evidently, like I said.
Anything else?
I think that you should be able to have the individuals who are purchasing the home should have an opportunity to remedy the solution. You got 2 people here who's purchased.
Well, I heard from her, and like I said, now I've heard the other side. It's been a burden to her for a long time. And like I said, I don't know. Are we going to tear them down? And is that what we're deciding? Because if it is, like I said, I don't know.
I think today, unless we decide differently, it's just going to move forward with demolition. Correct, Bob?
That's up to you.
And unless we make some kind of change today, which I don't think anybody here is willing to do.
No.
So I think we'll probably move forward with demolition at this point.
I forget, you got bids, didn't you? Are you
Yes, nothing official. I gotten a couple guys gave me price what they would, just to give us an idea what it would cost. And, I hold off on getting any formal bids until we knew what was going on with the grant money and all that stuff.
And my suggestion would be for you to go ahead, get those formalized in writing for this council to consider, and then at that time you would retain them, hire them to do the demolition. That probably is not going to occur until next month unless they have a special meeting to approve that contractor. Consequently, if some magical thing happened between now and then, it could possibly be held off if we hadn't signed a contract with that vendor. But I think that's what this council would probably want them to do to get that formalized bids down.
Is there any way that you could allow the one smaller house to be able to be fixed up since it's still got good bones? It's just barely a hole in the roof. It's just one right above the closet is the only hole. It's just one hole. It's a small hole. And is it that one house? So then you would save $20,000.
I would say no. I mean, the same. We voted on both homes already, and it's all gone through. And I'm just going to have to say, I would say no unless somebody disagrees with me.
I fully agree, unless, like Bob said, some miracle happens and these things are turning around sometime between now and when we come back in here and meet again. If we have the official bids on, or to tear them down, I think we just go ahead and move forward.
And I would get bids on what it would cost and their timeline, how soon they could start. So we know a starting date and we know a cost when this council considers those proposals.
I mean, the difference is like if we do try to make improvements on it between now and then, and like put a roof on it, I mean, and you guys say, well, we're still gonna tear it down, you know?
I would not recommend doing that.
No.
Not even with the little one.
It's been a long time, you know, it's
time.
It's time, and you gotta consider the neighbors.
Yes.
Is it our responsibility to fence off the property to, I mean, obviously they could still have access to it, it's still their property.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Should we be protecting the properties in any way or not? I mean, that's.
No, I mean, when the time comes, you would want.
The contractors would do that.
Yeah, they would have to do that.
But yeah, like I said, when I was getting some prices on just to give us an idea on what it would cost, the guy told me to tear those two houses down would be about 18,000.
That's pretty close to it.
Yeah.
So there's still time for others to bid? Yeah, is there time for others to bid?
This was not, I had just contacted, because we had no idea what it would cost, so we wanted an idea what it would cost us to tear.
You need to give them
houses down.
specs of exactly what you're looking for, as far as how the property would be left, as far, we did this in Dublin when they had that tear down of an unsafe.
Well, that's what a lot of his, he has on here, you know, demo house, fill basement, level grade, plant seed.
Okay, but I want you to make the specs out when you send out the solicitation of quotes or bids, so that everybody is being treated the same way, so that they know what you're asking for.
They're all bidding on the same job.
That's right.
Is this a sealed bid or how do we do this?
No, this is for service,
Doesn't have to be.
it does not have to be a sealed bid. It's effectively, that's why it'd be a quote. So you could ask for 2 or 3 quotes from somebody who's reputable and get that, because it's not a product that you're going to receive.
Okay.
So how many do you want them to get, 2 or 3 or 3?
Yeah, 3 ideally is best, 2 in the middle.
Okay.
And after this is done, will we have a plan or a description of the results of this that goes back to the owners? Are they still the owners of the property?
Oh, yeah, none of this will ever change the ownership unless it ever would go up for a tax sale, because you haven't gotten your money recouped after you spend it to tear it down. So this is not a matter of changing ownership at this moment.
Okay, so they could still sell.
Yeah, they can still sell a lot.
Yeah.
So they could sell a lot anytime, actually. Okay, yeah. But all of this has to go on the record to that sale, I would think. It would be the
Right
decision
now,
of
on
the
record
board.
is the unsafe building determination and the remedy, which is the tear down.
Okay.
And once we enter into a contract, I would put that on public notice too.
Okay, do we need a motion or is it just what we had in place last time?
But if we start tearing it down ourselves, nobody gonna say a thing. You gotta have a permit for that?
Just a demolition permit, which there's no charge for that. You just need to contact me so I can write it up.
At which place?
You're at,
Okay. Yeah, that's why I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, that was what they were ordered to do, so if they got it done before you signed a contract to do it, there's no harm in that.
All right, that's the only other way to save money is to. All right.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
All right.
thank you.
Thank you. I'm so sorry.
No, it was informative. I needed to know.
All right, on to our next subject. And
Just sorry one thing, so that this will be on the agenda for the next meeting. We'll review the bids, we'll select a contractor, move forward. Okay,
unless we have a meeting ahead of time to do it.
Can we do that?
Can
we have a special meeting?
Yeah.
If we get the bids
If we get them in
prior
soon,
to,
like if he gets them tomorrow and he
Well,
lets
let's get
everybody
them
know.
fast.
this is only 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of time between now and the next meeting.
Good.
Hi, Council.
Your turn.
We've got 3 items to discuss with you today. One's the proposal for our water loss audits. Then we'd like to just give you an update on the 1B project, where that is with respect to substantial completion, and then also talk about some next steps, since we're starting to get in the closing out stages of the SRF job. So the first thing that I believe is in your packets are 2 proposals for water loss audits and validations.
Yes.
And I can't remember if these are something you asked for or we reached out to
Well,
you.
this is something we have to do every other year.
These are required by the state to
And 2 years ago, we had Wessler do them. And I got an email from the gal that overseen it and to see if we were wanting to do that again. And, you know, I've looked at these things and it's like, half of it's a Greek to me. What, you know, yeah, I can get them the information they need, but when it gets compiled is what. And so me and Sherry talked, it's just like some things that she has done. It's a lot easier to contract and hire somebody to get these things done and done right. So that way you don't have no issues with the state down the road.
getting something done.
Yeah, and
Unfortunately, this is just one of the state required procedures to go through. It's 2 steps. It's the actual water loss audit, which consists of collecting information on billed, sold data, and then the validity behind that. And then the next piece is the validation. And the state requires that the validation is done by someone who's a certified validator. So that's what the 2 proposals are for. Same service, one for the town system, one for the industrial park system. I believe each one is $4,000. And in terms of completion time, I think we have 2 months once we get the information we need from CAD.
Is any of this field work on your part, or is it mainly looking at data?
It's all data, office work, so no field work required.
Okay.
So, are they the same price?
Yes.
One's 4,000 and one is
4,000.
4,000. So 8,000 for the water out. 8,000, right?
Yeah.
This water out.
And this would be paid out of your water fund?
Water fund, yeah. Yes. Okay,
So just looking for.
So I'm assuming we need a motion to approve, to go
so
forward
they
with
can move
those.
forward. If Ken wants them to do it.
Should
He
you
wants
so
to do it
decide.
himself.
Yeah.
No.
I think we should move forward with the
I do
the 2
too. I
proposals.
agree.
I would make that motion.
Second it.
Is that for both contracts?
Yes, at the same time. If
That's
that's
a
okay.
motion, and a second to approve the 2 contracts for the water loss audits. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
We have to sign this stuff.
You can sign it whenever. It's fine. Thank you, Council. The next item we had was to provide an update on the 1B project and let Amy take care of that.
So we have here the certificate of substantial completion. So last month on March 12th, we did the substantial completion walkthrough for the 1B project. And we found it to be substantially complete. So what this certificate has in this form is what's called punch list items, and those are what haven't been completed yet and need to be completed between when they hit substantial completion and then when they are at final completion, and then they can be paid out the remainder of the contract at that point. So a lot of them are electrical items. There's some high service pump work, just touching up painting, finish grading and seating. So all items that aren't necessary for the water treatment plant to produce water. That's what substantial completion is, which they hit. So we just need a signature from Jim on the form. We have a signature from the contractor and Wessler on here.
So do we pay that amount, or does that just go onto our bill, that 78,000?
So that's an amount that'll be withheld from the contractor until they finish this work.
Okay.
We just wanted to bring this form to all council's attention so they are aware where things stand.
You're actually holding out 198,000 retained.
That's the wrong page.
Something for
Right, it just.
Okay. You sign.
It's right here.
Oh, I bypassed that one.
This copy okay to sign?
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
And then the next item is talking about some of the contingency funds on the SRF loan. So with the 1B project, there will be approximately $175,000 in contingency, pending a few change order items from Cooley. but that's what we're expecting right now, and that money has to get spent, or we'll lose it. So we're kind of talking with Ken and some of the council members about what that money could be spent on, and a few items that we came up with were the first one being mapping, so a system map, like a digital system map, because right now you just have PDF maps of your system, and a lot of the times aren't completely accurate, and it's hard for the staff to find things on the maps, and it's hard for consultants to get grants for funding because we can't use the maps efficiently. So that is one item, and there's a few different levels of how you can do the mapping. There's a pretty basic level.
We didn't want to get into necessarily the details of what's involved with the mapping. What we're looking for is an approval from council to write an amendment to SRF to get them to approve to include this work in the project. Once they approve it, then we'll plan to file or to further define that level of effort, what that would be to develop a system map in this case.
Do you think that'd be something they'll do? That's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think they'll approve it. We just like to get that green light before we go through and put the
Now,
legwork.
do you do that, or does
We do.
Peter do that?
That'd
Okay.
be something we can do.
So that was one option. What was the cost of that one option?
So that's where the different there's different levels, and
We don't
I'm
know.
trying to not get into the details.
Okay.
It could be 5, it could be 100,000.
But if we look at the other options, we sort of need to know what the first one.
I think this will probably come in around 20,000 for this item.
Thank you. Right?
And then one of the other items is updating the wellhead protection plan. So this is just required by IDEM since we added a new well to the industrial park. This will be a required piece just to stay in compliance with IDEM since that new well was added. And I'm not sure about cost.
Wellhead protection plans, typically around $10,000 to $15,000.
Is that a one-time?
Don't we
Yes,
have-
that's a one-time.
I'm on that committee with you, but isn't that something?
That's right
we
now,
just did?
in the past, usually we meet once a year with one of the guys from Choice One
Okay.
that has been handling the wellhead
Yeah,
protection.
we just did the one.
And we can amend the PER to get it approved for them to do the wellhead protection plan for you. It doesn't have to be done by us. We just want to get that qualified
But
to
it
do
is,
that.
but it's needed because of the new well.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's, we can decide that,
And you said how much was it?
10 to 15.
In a one-time
Yes, one time.
life of the wellhead?
Wellhead protection plans are
It's an ongoing,
updated every 5 years.
but 4
Kevin.
years.
Yeah.
She did it.
So it's
4 or
renewable.
4 or 5
5.
years.
4 or 5 years, yeah.
This one's a special one because it's required since we're adding that new well. That's what's triggered this requirement.
It's just we need to know about all these things every, for all budgeting, and you, I'm sure you take care of it, so I was just curious.
No, great questions.
Okay.
Oh,
And then some other items that could be included as well are, there's some water mains that could be replaced. Ken got us a list of just priority water mains and hydrants that could be replaced. And then a few other items are the aerator blower at the industrial park needs replaced, and then the industrial park generator needs rewired. Those are all the priority items that we thought could be included.
And so C, D, and E totals up to the remainder of the number, or is there?
So
Sorry for CD&E. The distribution systems improvements, that could be anything. I'd like to use that as the leftover to spend down the contingency. Just depends if we pick 1 valve or 10 valves.
Okay.
For the aerator blower, that shouldn't be over $5,000 tops. For the generator wiring, that's going to require a little bit of sleuthing. We don't know what's wrong with that. We just know sometimes when it rains, the generator doesn't work. We don't like that.
No,
We want to
it's
get
not
that
good.
So we're not certain the magnitude of that. Worst case scenario, I think it would look at replacing wiring. I'm shooting from the hip, so don't hold me to this, but that'd be $10,000 or $15,000 worst case to replace that.
Is there a chance to get capital items for support of the water system? Any type of machinery, or if we have to dig a hole if there's something I mean, or can you not use these funds for?
You can. But what SRF first does is they ask you, is your mapping up to date? How's your wellhead protection plan look? Do you have any water mains that need replaced in town? And make sure you check those boxes of your system assets before you get those more peripheral types of things.
They want the requirement boxes checked first, and then
I bought
your wish list isn't fixed.
but you need to get through that.
Okay,
check
so
first.
that's why I'd really like to understand what all of these, granted, you could just spend it on hydrants, I realize, but if there's 5 we need, but we don't really need to do the other 5, but we have desperate needs for equipment to support the water system. I'm just wondering if we should look to prioritize, if we can spend the money on it. Our capital equipment is in great need of support, as Ken has said.
So one thing we can do is further define what those distribution items look like now, or as we prepare this amendment, and then see how those dollars look, and keep that balance for equipment, and we can go from there. So before we submit that amendment, we'll circle back to understand, does that look like being able to include equipment? And if it does, we will include that.
What's the time to make these decisions?
To make the decision to...
On all this, just the timings.
We're just looking for the approval to move to start this now. So we'd reach out in the next couple weeks and check in with everything.
Thank you.
So what do we need tonight?
Need a motion to begin preparing the PER amendment to spend down contingency.
With those items.
Right.
So
Second.
have a motion and second for us to proceed with that PR, right?
PER amendment, thank you.
For the contingency. All in favor?
Aye.
So Ken, if they're familiar with it, maybe you should think about them doing that wellhead protection.
It's just an update to it, isn't it?
It's, they gotta write, they gotta add it to it.
It's not just an update, it's adding the third well.
Just adding the third well to the, because see, I think that was the last fall, I think we met with, see, so we wouldn't be meeting with choice 1 for another couple of years.
And this needs to be done.
So this needs to be done.
Needs to be done
So
like
I
now.
feel better if they're familiar with it, them doing it.
But that's one of the things to figure out. As part of this process, they'll talk with us to figure this out. Got it. Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all. Appreciate your
That's
time.
enough?
That's it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. You should turn the AC on.
I do, you can go back there and
It's a hot
stay. You can just stand on the register.
He was on the hot seat for a minute there, starting to feel it.
They're just getting shinier and shinier. I was like, oops.
Moving on to unfinished business, starting with the update on blighted property. Richard?
Can we set them real quick?
Sure.
Just to get permission on a grant.
Absolutely.
He's got to get out of here, so.
Sure.
Share you for that, or give it out.
I made copies, but they can, they can look at it, yeah.
So for a long time, the Wayne County Sheriff's Office and the Cambridge City Police Department has been in a traffic safety grant together. You hear it, the click it or ticket, drive sober or get pulled over. Some changes have been done. We're continuing with the Sheriff's Office. The grant's due on the 30th. They only gave us less than 30 days to do it this year because they're trying to push forward, make sure the money gets out. One thing that's different, before only the head agency, which was the Sheriff's Office, was able to get equipment free from the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute. Since then, they've seen the issue where the smaller agencies aren't getting, so they've changed it where any agency that's participating can request 2 items that have to do with traffic safety, and it's going to be a reimbursing grant, but they will cover 80%, and then the town would only have to cover 20%. I was looking at a new radar. We've already updated 2 radars, but a lot of ours are fairly old. And then a LiDAR. A LiDAR is, I use it a lot at the Sheriff's Office, but mainly I can park perpendicular, and it's a lot easier. It can go through windows, and it's better through inclement weather. In the email I sent Sherry was both of them with a lot of the details of it. That would already also help with the issue we're having with some traffic. So if you're parallel, a lot of people see you though, but in this thing not only can be used for traffic, but it also does measurements. I did a lot when I was with crash reconstruction. If I need to shoot an accident scene that's 1,000 foot long, I just aim and point at an object and it gives me the exact distance to the inch on it. those two items together are $4,219. That means we'd be getting back $3,375 of it, less. As far as I know, the shipping and handling would be on the agency. It's similar to like the radio thing. It's such a great thing that's coming that it was to not be able to do it would, it's like a no-brainer to me. Get 80% funds paid for these items that we know we need that are outdated, and that's why in talking with Sherry a little bit, like the best course, because I think that much to eat up some of our equipment budget that's already kind of smaller, but whether or not we have other avenues for like a one-time request to help invest in this.
Well, it would be similar to creating a line item like a rainy day, where I can take it on a rainy day, and then when they get their money back, then I can deposit it right back in. And that's what I was thinking. I told Seth that might be the simplest way to do it.
It's all similar, just like the radio thing. I think Sherry was reimbursed within 30 days of us then sent it. So
We have, we did for them, that made it simpler. Okay.
So when they review it, they'll look, if they get tons of requests, they may say you're only getting one, but we won't, until they tell us, then we can make the purchase. We just show them the proof of payment and that, and then that's when in our reports that are done quarterly, usually within 2 months after that quarterly report is when Sherry is getting reimbursed. Is that correct? Yeah.
So so we won't know, so it's 80%.
Right, and this is for the way Indiana Criminal Justice Institute, their fiscal calendar goes from October 1, so this grant that I'm applying for is for October of 24 through the end of September 25. We are already currently in the grant with the Sheriff's Office that goes until the September 31st, 30th. So this won't be even started until a lot later. They're just wanting to get the grant done now, because in the past, while I was at the Sheriff's Office, I was the coordinator on it. It took forever getting it, and then things weren't even getting started till October, November, December, or January. They're hoping everything will start October 1.
So what you're looking for is for us to, permission to apply for this grant for the $4,219 for the equipment, and understand that it will pay for that up front.
Correct. And
They reimburse
80%.
Right. And that's at most. They may say only one item. So, but
for one vehicle, or is
No.
it all vehicles?
So the LiDAR is a handheld device, similar. It's the same thing you see when they're out on the interstate measuring. It's using laser. So what's great about that, obviously, our radars are just like sonar, 45-degree angle. Your LiDAR is a laser, so it's when I can shoot a long distance and my span is only that. Usually you aim at the front of the hood of the car or the rear of it, and so there's no like, oh, it could have been several vehicles. We know it's that vehicle.
This is for on duty. They take it out when they're on duty.
Correct, and we can share it around and do that. Or people
so it's not mounted to the.
No.
One would be mounted, the LiDAR would be.
The radar is mounted in the cars, and that's what we're slowly replacing. We got two replaced this year that they're getting installed, and then the LiDAR is a great way to hand it to every officer throughout shift change. That way, if they want to use it.
The two we just replaced, by the way, was with donation money, so those were free also.
So you just need a motion then.
Sounds like a pretty good deal to me.
Good.
Just take it out of rainy day.
I'm just trying to work that way. We have a nice little system I already got from the Insight, which is through the Indiana Supreme Court. I got a new printer. It was about $400 or $500 value, and then a scanner. So that way, every year I can keep applying for this and slowly keeping us up to date with technology. In 5 years, everything's going to continue to filter through unless we get bigger.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve for them to seek the grant to purchase this equipment.
I second that.
Have a motion and a second to approve applying for this grant in this amount of $4,219 at most. Yep. And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Great. The only thing I had to say, I know it posted on our Facebook, but April 27th, we're again participate in the DEA's National Medication Take Back along with syringes. April 27th from 10 to 2. We're hosting it here like we did last time out in front. That way the circle drive is a little easier for people just to pull around and do it. And then we partner with Reed EMS because they're wanting to help the community. So we got a good turnout last time. I think it was around 80 pounds just for us in the short time. So hopefully we can get more. And the needles.
The same day as the Caring for Cambridge.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
And opening day, you know, it's opening day as well.
We should make sure they advertise
It's
that.
opening day.
Okay. We can also put it on our parking lot side.
Okay.
That's how, which is very easy. You know, we never had lineups, but we did get, you know, probably about 24 vehicles come through, and hopefully with Reed and us, we're trying to spread the word. We go to all the pharmacies because it's through the DEA. They can dispose of old medications that way also. So we've reached out to CVS and Dr. Newton and those. That way they know if they need to donate. But I get a lot of people with the medications they don't know where to take them, or the needles, and it's just, fortunately, that's what right now it turns into, where people are stealing them or that. And with the drug abuse with prescription drugs, it's just one way to get rid of them, so that way they're not laying around or kids, they think it's a Skittles and they pick something up.
What was the time again?
From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's the set times the DEA sets for the national take back. So right now it's only us and Richmond Police Department are the only ones in the area. And like last time, I'll send it to neighboring sheriff's offices or police departments. I send it to Fayette County, Newcastle, just so we get a lot of Henry County people right on the line. That way they know if they want to drop it off, they can. So
Great.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you.
Good work. All right. On to the update on blighted property.
Okay, the house down here on Main Street, the blue house.
So that's 314 West Main, correct?
Yes.
Since the last meeting, I had digging through a bunch of my notes that I have. I found another phone number than what I had been calling, trying to get a hold of somebody, and I actually did get a hold of somebody with that company that owns it, and found out the address is no longer what they use, and I've got a new address. And so I sent them the initial letter that I sent that I got back in the mail. So hopefully they actually get this one.
So that letter was for what? Just to clean it up?
The preliminary unsafe building.
Okay.
With some suggestions on what could be done to it.
Was that mailed today?
That was mailed yesterday. Yeah. So that's what I've got a couple other houses that I've looked at now that was on a list that you had given me, Jim, as possible, could be unsafe. I got two more tagged that I'm going to send a letter to. One on Walnut Street and South Walnut, and then the other one on, don't remember the address what it is, but it's on East Church Street, on closer to one, that gray shingled house.
Oh, yeah.
Over there, that one there, I drove by there, and you get to the
617.
You get to the side there, and the roof's gone.
It's been used as storage right here. They use it as storage building. Yeah, it's in there.
What's the one on Walnut?
Is that the one on College and Walnut?
Yes.
Right on the corner?
Yeah, they're by Mike's.
Oh. Okay, Mike.
The one that has a roof that's sagging and partial roof missing in the back and everything. But I'm gonna write letters to them.
Okay.
The preliminary unsafe.
I'll put a little round out.
Yeah.
Shame it's a cool house.
It was. And then I had sent two new letters out to some people with unsightly properties that they need to clean up. And then I'd also sent two letters out to some people that also have fines attached to them.
What house is for the fines, so I can get those on here and know which ones
It
to
would
pay?
be Diana.
Well, 502.
Yep,
So what's her fine gonna be now?
200. And then the other one I sent was for the house, I think it's 140 East Church,
140?
corner of Church and Plum, and that was a $100 fine.
Okay. How much time do you have?
I gotta give them a month from when I wrote the letter, just because if they've got till May 12th, I believe is the date, just because.
So do you follow up on that? Do you follow up on that, or do I just say, hey, we haven't got the money for the fine?
I can follow up on it. Yeah.
Okay.
So on the house on Plum Street, 14 North Plum, there are 2 cars parked on that property as well. One of them, I don't think even has an engine in it, so.
So I know Ken had been talking to him. I actually talked to the lady a few days ago myself, and we'll get that taken care of. The only issue may be with the one that's the black car. There is an exemption in the law for a race car, and that's what they claim this to be, and it does have a roll cage and stuff installed in it, so.
You got a number?
I'll have to investigate.
If it doesn't run, it's not racing the whole
Correct, but it still could be deemed a race car. So, but I need to investigate that a little bit further yet, so.
That's 14 North Plum?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those cars will be bagged tomorrow, by the way.
Okay.
And then we'll see what happens after that.
Did that company you spoke to, the Blue House down there, did they seem receptive to taking care of it?
The gentleman I talked to, he was not the.
Sure, you never talked to that guy.
Yeah, and he was going to forward on my message to him.
Yeah.
And also he's going to be looking for the letter, so.
Okay, well, that's nice. That was a nice house.
The other thing I do on that, I want to ask, while I'm getting the bids on the 2 houses on Front Street, do you want me to also get the bid for the house by the liquor store?
Well, that's part of that white program.
Well, that's.
So we need to get a hold of her.
Yeah.
And Gary's going to talk about this a little bit about the blight program, because the blight program ended up not being exactly what they said it was going to be, because basically it's just refunding us for the cost of tearing the buildings down. It doesn't help the property owner at all. So we probably need to talk with her again and let her know that it's really not going to be any help for her, that it's really unsafe, so it's going to have to get torn down. So,
which I knew, when she was here at that meeting, she just wants to get out.
She just doesn't have the money.
And I think, even if the town would go and say, well, we'll give you this much for it, she'll take whatever.
I think so too.
Because she just wants to get out for
well,
what
we probably need to have that discussion with her.
So should we have her at the May meeting?
It could indirectly help her, and if you say that all it does is reimburse you for the cost of you tearing it down, that would prevent you from having to go after her.
Then we don't have to bill her for that cost, yeah.
Because she's got quotes, right, but just couldn't afford the quotes to tear it
A
down.
couple prices she got, she just says she couldn't afford it.
That's a pretty good sized house. It's more than both of them.
Yes, it is a big house.
And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so close to the other.
Yeah,
That
you can strip somebody else's house tearing that one down, they are close.
There's no
So yeah, I guess the answer to that is I would get a quote to tear it down.
I mean, when I got these prices from the other guy, just to get an idea, he gave me a price of $17,500 on that. But you got a 2-story, it's a 2-story house, a lot more footage.
It's a tough lot too.
Yeah.
Maybe right there on it.
Yeah, to try to get a truck in there or anything, I mean, it's gonna be tough, yeah.
Good job. We did too good of a job.
Yeah, sit back a little bit.
So along these lines, and Gary can talk about this maybe a little if he wants to, but the blight program is rolling out. But one thing, and Gary, I don't know, you want to go through it or you want?
Well, I can if you want. I mean, old school teacher took notes here, so. There you go. I did my notes, I did my homework. I met with Sarah Mitchell of the Wayne County EDC. And so we went through all these things and I sent it to her for make sure everything was correct. The blight program, the deadline is July 1st. And we have to get buildings that we deem have to be in process of being, they have to be declared unsafe by July 1st. And we need to
Qualify for the program.
to qualify. Now, a lot of communities are already kind of like there already, and they said as long as we were in process, they would consider it. Says actual demolition cannot begin until the requirements of the town's unsafe building ordinance have been satisfied. And then I just wrote this down from what she said. If the unsafe building process has gone through the appropriate steps and bids have been accepted on the property, can actual demolition begin? Once the bid process is accepted, and there's a checklist of suggestions for the demolition process, the town may apply to the EDC with the approved bids for reimbursement so the contractor can be paid upon completion. And Sarah said only after the interlocal agreement is in place. I didn't quite understand that, so I put it in quotes. You probably understand all that.
Between the city and the county, or?
I don't know what that means, but
It may mean between EDC and the town.
perhaps, yeah. A lien is placed on the property after demolition. If the owner pays the demolition bill sent by the community, then a lien will not be placed on it and it will not go up for tax sale. If they do not pay a lien, it's placed on the property after 3 tax cycles, it is up for tax sale. If it's not sold at tax sale, then it goes to commissioner sale, which I guess the bidding could start out like even at $100 if it went for a commissioner sale. But if they buy it at tax sale, they owe the cost of the demolition plus any unpaid property tax.
The buyer does.
The buyer does. There's three cycles it has to go through. It says other structures on the property may or may not be declared unsafe. This must be included in bid documents and contract for reimbursement. If money is recovered from the owners for demo costs, it would be added for funds for future demolition in the town. I understood this. She said funding is limited. Communities need to prioritize the properties submitted as each property will be considered separately. And there's a whole list of paperwork that you have to submit when you deem a property that has to be torn down. And, it's just a matter of going through the process and getting all but there is a particular process that the demo person has to go through as well. So all this has to be submitted by July 1st if you want to be considered for demolition.
So basically, the county is offering to, the money to actually
tear
The majority of what he just described basically is the unsafe building law as far as what you do. And I think I would back up, this would not help her even indirectly, because it sounds like you still have to go after the property owner. You don't put a lien if they don't pay it.
Right.
And if you do get that, then you just add that for future use.
Right.
But it's really not letting them off. It's just that you're getting some money from the county.
What it does is help the town. We don't have to come up with the money.
Right.
To tear them.
If you're approved, then they come up with the money.
But we have to have it in process by July 1st.
Yeah, there's a lot of
So
work.
we need to prioritize those and get that in process. Now, we have some already in process.
The 3 we've spoken about tonight are already in the process, correct?
They've all been deemed unsafe.
Yeah, they've all been deemed unsafe.
And they've all been ordered to tear down.
Right, so the other ones, then we just need to get the letters sent out and
Prioritize
process
the ones
started.
that we think are the most severe.
Yeah.
So are you working with Ken on that, or are you just gonna give him a list?
Well, I gave Jim a list of properties that they have to be abandoned and they have to be like unsafe. And there's quite a list there.
So they just really finalized all this like in the last week or two.
Yeah, there's quite a smorgasbord of properties.
So Bob, if she says I don't have the money to tear that down, and then we offer to buy the property at whatever, then we just buy it and she's out from underneath it, right?
If that's how you want to go that route, rather than tearing it down at your
But
cost.
then-
If you want to become the owner of it, and then
I just want to give her another option.
Because you're then buying it subject to your own unsafe order.
Yeah, I just wanted to give her another option instead of just.
But then we have to protect it, maintain it, sell it.
And could we get the EDC grant if we bought the
That's what I
property and
wondered.
did it? And then could we go after to recoup that money would be?
I would bet that would not fall within there.
I don't think so.
I don't think that would be permitted.
Yeah,
from what she
exactly.
said. That has to be this way.
Yeah, that's what I don't know why they would allow you to do that anyhow.
Well, that one one time, that one meeting, when they came here and talked with us, that was sort of what, then they were talking like it could be where, the town could acquire the property.
Yeah. It changed a lot.
It changed, yeah.
Because I remember her saying there would be.
Are you talking about the homeowner or the gal?
The gal that was here,
Okay.
the Sarah that he talked to.
They went back sharpening up their pencils.
We could get some money, we could buy them, but then there were certain ways we had to maintain those properties too after.
Yeah, that
But they changed all that.
It was very different.
So for us to take advantage of this, we're gonna have to really move in the next 2 months.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if just Gary working with Ken, or we should get another council member also is involved, just to keep it rolling along so that we have.
I've been working with Ken. I'd be glad to take that list and go out with Ken and we can take a look at those buildings. I mean, I've been working with Ken anyhow, so.
Mike and you, Ken. Okay, so.
And they have to be abandoned. Because I've seen people living in unsafe buildings in town. Now, we haven't deemed them unsafe, but I'll bet if we went and looked.
Probably.
Yeah.
So next month we'll look for a progress report.
I know the trailer people are living in on Vine Street.
That's the one, I went by there today. That's on my list.
It's actually collapsing.
That whole side is
buckled out.
Yeah.
There's people in there too.
You're kidding.
No.
Oh my God.
So by the next
Now,
meeting.
I don't know if they're officially in there, but they're in there.
Well, that house next door is really bad too.
Yeah, it needs a lot of, I don't know, structural, but it needs a lot of help.
Trailers.
Yeah.
This can be talked about in the meeting.
All right.
Yep.
Next, what was your question?
By the next meeting, Gary, Mike, and Ken will report on
The
We'll
progress.
prioritize the homes that we need to, then get the letters.
Any letters that might have been sent out or whatever. Thank you.
See you next month.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Next thing is update on the space for horseshoe pits in the park.
Okay, I went down, I looked around, I think probably the best place is gonna be to run them parallel with the walk that goes through there from, get my bearings, right here, the walk that goes through there towards the big shelter house. There's an area sort of like between that asphalt and that little brown building. I think will be probably the best place to put a couple pits there.
Okay. Well, we'll look at that.
Just because I don't want to stick them out somewhere where the frisbee golf
And then
baskets
that
are.
wouldn't be where the cars park for like T-ball or anything like that, right? Okay.
No, it is.
So it'd be like
It's far away
right as
from
soon
there,
as you,
yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah, it's sort of in that triangle like they're
Yeah.
probably big shelter.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
what
I
you're
think so
talking
too,
about, I
yeah.
think.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
okay.
Sounds good. New electrical ordinance?
I think Sherry's passed out to you ordinance 3-2024.
Yes.
This has kind of had a life of its own. What started is, I was requested just to add an electrical inspection fee of $25. Well, I got into the applicable section of your code, and you guys had the same confusion I thought that Dublin had, and that is distinguishing a fee that somebody pays you to get a building permit. You have a code section of when a building permit is required, and it's unclear whether does somebody have to pay a fee for that just building permit. Then the secondary fee is there are inspections that are done after they get that building permit. How many inspections are required? You've got that set out. I'm not sure how accurate that is. Some of these are a lot different than what Dublin has, the same type of construction. And then do you want to, should you have an inspection fee associated with that inspection? And then depending on how many inspections there are, what the maximum fee would be for those inspections. So your numbers are lower than some other similar types of communities, so I haven't changed that. All I have changed for purpose of this was distinguishing between what a building permit fee is and what, quote, inspection fees are. So that was a clarification, and then what was supposed to be bolded was that new electrical inspection is new for one inspection fee, if that's just all that's required is, and that would be the $25 cost versus the other inspections, which are $15. You may want to up your other inspection fees, because that's just terribly low for whatever time it takes for Ken to go out. So I would suggest for any of you to look at it and for Ken to look at it and see, does this really meet today's requirements of what makes sense for inspections? And you want to keep all of your building permit fees at just $25 or raise them to 50, 60, or 70. You know, it is one way in this day of inflation that sometimes you want to, it is another source of income depending on how many you have. So I know that's a long explanation just to what was going to be just an added electrical inspection fee, but I thought this would be a good time to revisit all of this.
So this ordinance just adds the electrical inspection fee.
Well, and the bolded language in A that talks about what is your permit fee, which is $25, and then clarifies that these are the inspection fees.
Gotcha.
So what's the average cost of other towns, anybody know?
Oh, other building permits are either $50 or $75 if they just need that one building permit. Now, we do show that all of these have to be paid up front. So I don't know, Ken, when somebody comes in, will you know how many inspections are going to be required as part of that building permit?
For the most part, from what I've read and interpreted from talking to like Michael Stuckey, that usually if it's new home construction where they're building a stick house from bottom up, there's usually like at least 4 inspections.
And that's what's here. And so that would be a $60 fee for those inspections plus their $25 building permit fee. So that'd be a total of $85. Maybe that is reasonable.
What do you charge now?
So we could.
I didn't check.
That is a fee, yes.
This is what at least he's supposed to be charging because that's what's in your code.
Yeah, depending on what the structure is, what they're doing, you know, it varies. You know, like I said, if it's a brand new home built from the ground up, there's at least 4 inspections.
And you're charging $15.
Basically, the building permit becomes $60.
Okay, so you don't have a separate building permit fee to get the building permit. All you're charging, that's what I thought was probably happening. You're only charging an inspection fee. So I guess that is new, that you're going to charge a permit fee just to get the permit, short of any inspections, to charge them an upfront $25. Does that make sense? Plus the
Where's the $32 come in then? What's the $32 that we do for building permits?
Well, depending on what they were doing, like if it's just a major thing where I only need to go look at a couple things, like if they're doing a deck, I go out and look at the holes they drill in the ground for their post to make sure they're deep enough, and then I'll go back once it's done to make sure everything is, so I'm there twice, so I charge them $15 for each of those inspections, which is the $30. I mean, that's how it was explained to me, how they, you know.
But you don't charge the additional $25 for the permit too?
So we charge
32.
I
don't know where the 32, you don't have, there's not.
It used to be when our lot improvement fee was only $2. You charge them $2 for that, and then $15 for each of those inspections, $32. Which now, though, that fee is up to $25.
Yeah, okay.
And but that's what, you know.
Okay.
And I don't know, should there be like a charge for a building permit and then charge for each of those inspections that I would do?
Yeah, I don't know of any other towns that don't charge something for just getting a building permit.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they charge for inspections.
That's correct.
Okay.
And so that's how I've written this.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
That sounds.
I mean, we know we've had low rates on that. Charges, fees, permits.
And you're welcome to revise anything else if you think anything else is low, or depending on if those inspection numbers are off. Like, is a mobile home a temporary structure, you can really get by with just one inspection, maybe. And the electrical, you just have one inspection for electrical. And that one, because of its nature, I am showing that to be a $25 inspection.
Yeah, because, you know, I'll get, you know, it's not necessarily, they're not building nothing, but they've had Duke come and disconnect the power, and before Duke will hook things back up, you've got to go out and do an inspection and look at things and send a paper in. Well, you know, I was doing all that stuff and all that time, and there was no cost for that. And that's where this, you know, charging a $25 fee for the electrical inspection came into play, is to, you know.
That is
so
just for the hookup, for the final hookup from Duke prior to that.
Yeah, like I
They have
said.
to have that or Duke won't do it. When I built mine. Yep.
So this doesn't show that we have an actual building permit right now. It does.
It does.
Okay.
Right here, to A, permits required shall be issued only upon prior payment of a, in quotes, permit fee associated with such permit, and a fee for all anticipated inspections associated. All permit fees shall be the minimum sum of $25. The inspection fees shall be as follows.
Yeah, the table, right.
So basically, new construction, I would charge them $25 for
the
permit, and then the $15 for each inspection.
So it would be basically $85 to get that permit, to start that process. Makes sense to me. I like it.
I like it too.
It's good.
I would entertain a motion to.
I'll make a motion that we put in place ordinance number 3-2024.
Second.
Have a motion and second to implement ordinance number 3-2024. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Good.
Thank you, Bob.
Effective
This
immediately.
doesn't include fire inspections.
No, we don't.
That's a separate
That's
process.
it.
Effective immediately.
And this isn't commercial either. This is only for residential.
No, it says it's not commercial. Well, it says business, commercial, public.
Most commercial stuff needs to go to have a state permit along with it. If it's based on this new construction,
Because you have to have a release.
you have to say, yeah, exactly.
Okay, moving on.
No dogs allowed ordinance.
One of us maybe ought to have looked in the code last month when we talked about this. Had we looked at section 97.49, which is your chapter
That's why
on
we have
parks.
you. That's why we have.
Yeah, I know, and I should have looked at the code instead of assuming you
read an
guys knew
ordinance.
what you were talking about.
Why would you say
Under B, Bicentennial Park, look what it already says. It shall be unlawful for any person to walk a dog or bring a dog upon any area of the park at any time. So I don't think we need anything new on that. Now, this does leave open a stray dog. You'd have to arrest a stray dog if you come up on that. It's not making that illegal, but it is the person that would be responsible for it. That is illegal.
What's the penalty on that, Bob?
And the penalty for this is, as when there is none, you could attend 99, and I think that's where you've got the discretion.
And we know the dogs are in that apartment. We know that. I mean, and is your guys picking up the trash in that? Because that thing was overloaded on Sunday again.
If they think, I think they check it, but it's one of those.
Well, if they didn't from the last meeting,
So
it's really.
with this in mind, do we need a sign in place in that park to let people know?
That would probably help. That would help us.
Right.
And take the dog back.
Yeah.
Take the bag down, yeah. I think so. Yeah, if they're not dumping
Need
it.
the dog over here, go over.
I'll get a hold of my sign lady and have her get a couple signs made.
I would note the ordinance on the sign.
And then
Ordinance number.
Yeah, that's good.
Code section number, remember, get away from ordinances end up being in your code. Ordinance is just what's passed for that night. Then what somebody violates is a section of your town code. Just like in Congress, if they pass a bill, then it becomes part of the statute, part of the code. We're all gonna learn that.
Well, we've been in the hospital.
All right.
So, of course, you do know where there are other properties downtown where they proceed
up to the nervous hospital.
So you're gonna take the bag thing down. Where do you want him to put that?
They have to drive though.
We have several.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, we need to get some other
Spray everywhere.
different places.
Really bad.
Okay.
All right, let's move on. Pershing Fire contracts.
They've not signed. They have not signed. Ken is the trustee of Milton. They're trying to get Milton to take on their fire protection So I don't know what to do.
One option is to write them a letter saying until they sign that, you're terminating all fire protection services.
Okay. What do you think?
I mean, if they're trying to find somebody else, that's certainly.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, and he's not got back to me.
Is that all right, Chief?
You're the boss. I work with these guys. They say you don't
I do
know
too,
where to go.
it's up to them.
Yeah.
Told you, you make rules, I thought fire.
Or you write them and say that's what you will do absent signing that within 30 days or something if you want to give them one last chance.
If it's a house fire though,
If it's a house fire,
everybody goes.
We take,
You go anyway.
I wouldn't want liability of what's with house burn.
Yeah, okay.
That's
Just
been done
wanted
other
to be
states.
noted.
Some towns have done that.
Yeah, it's ugly. But you know, we just need to come to agreement
I would
with,
recommend this.
we gotta go,
Saying
that's
that's
all.
what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A letter.
if it's not signed in like 30 days.
30 days.
Yeah.
Before you, I'd say before your next meeting.
Yeah.
Do we need
Okay.
him to write it, since he's so powerful?
When is the?
You want me to write it?
Mr. Powerful
Yes.
Man. I don't care, I can write it. He can tell me what.
I don't care, it'll be cheaper for me to do it.
I know.
I'll do it, whatever you want to do.
You're gonna have to meet to approve the contract though as a board, right?
That's true.
Do we know what that date is? So we probably need to coincide.
Good point.
I don't know when they meet, no.
Anybody know?
Pershing, Ken, do you know?
It just means, I mean, they wouldn't be able to act on it. So then they.
They have to have a special meeting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they could have a special meeting.
True.
I mean, they got
Did you
this
get called often? And
They got
how
this
often times do you
January
have to?
Not often, we get called, I mean, more medical calls than anything like everywhere else, but I could come up with that, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head. We probably go in Pershing half as much as we go in Kansas City. And you know, we're every bit as hot. They need to have, they need to come up with their
Yeah.
contract.
What day
Okay.
does the Pershing Council meet? The Eastern Town?
See, maybe possibly the same day we meet on.
Yeah, I think they do.
They meet the same day? So they met last Monday,
Unless they changed it because of
unless
the
they
eclipse
changed
too.
it, yeah.
Well, if we send that letter, maybe they'll have a special council meeting. I don't know. They still have to approve it.
They may have already voted to approve it, it's just not signed. So hopefully that's the case.
It's been a challenge with them ever since we, what, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when we initially raised.
I can't imagine milk would be cheaper than what we've charged all these years.
That's
If they do, then we still gotta go with that, but first.
Send them the letter.
What was the final answer?
Just send them the letter.
I think they want to send them a letter saying that if it's not signed by the next month, we will follow up with the letter terminating the contract, right?
Or is it terminated at that point?
That would terminate that point if you don't have it in hand. And am I writing it or Sherry writing
I can write it. I can call him and then.
Sherry can write
it? Okay, let me look at
I'm writing, you're not looking. Yeah.
Require that protection. Okay. New business, jar show, June 8th in the park.
Yeah, it's the same one he has every year. He's been asking me for this for months. He's gonna have the liability sent to me. He's got porta pots coming. It's just, it gets bigger and bigger each year, this jar show. So I just want you guys all to know that he'd like to do that again.
I'll make a motion, we let Marty do his jar show June 8th in the park.
Second. A motion second to allow the jar show June 8th in the park. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Let them know. Who's on that.
Then we have a motion to approve a donation from Seth and
$4,700 donation from Seth Hardin.
Premier maintenance.
Premier Maintenance, thank you.
Oh, okay.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, it was, they sold raffle tickets, right?
Yeah.
But I don't like to make waves or keep running.
And 2015 sale of plush dogs for the police, those are separate.
Yeah, two different donations.
I make a motion, we accept the $470 donation from Seth Hardin.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the $470 donation from Seth Harden for career maintenance. All in favor?
Aye.
Second. Opposed?
I'll make a motion, we accept the 2015 sale of plush dogs for the police department.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the $2,015 sale for the sale of the plush dogs for the police department. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Great.
Passed. And it looks like the fire department got a table and patio chairs from Walmart.
Yes, they was donated. Zach had me there working on an appliance, and the lady had, the people who came to get them and refused them. They're still in the box. And she told Zach she either had to find somebody to donate them to or destroy them. He called me, and I done the paperwork, wrote a letter, said we'd like to have that donation. They approved it.
Awesome.
$704 a week price.
Wow.
I'll make a motion, we accept the donation of the table and 6 patio chairs.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the donation of table and patio chairs from Walmart to the fire department. All in favor?
Lowe's.
Oh, I thought it was Walmart. I said Walmart. I thought you said Walmart.
We'll change it to
Sorry,
Lowe's.
Lowe's. Sorry. Lowe's. Gotcha.
Okay. For Lowe's.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. And then Sherry, you have this interlocal
Yes,
agreement?
interlocal agreement. I sent it to all of you, I believe. Bob, I think I sent it to you as well.
Yep, everything was
Is this
fine.
for the,
It's $10,000 that the county is contributing to the $100,000 project for the playground.
Yeah, this is from Beth Fields.
So this is the HELP program grant that the campaign has been approved to go forward with the patrioticity grant, and that starts on April 25th. So the campaign will start for fundraising, and this is their contribution to that.
Okay, so I need a motion.
So moved.
Yeah.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to accept the interlocal agreement between Wayne County and the town for the playground equipment grant. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Staff reports. Town Marshal.
So I sent you guys an email a week or so ago about some proposals on staffing issues. So I don't know if you want to have some discussion on that. If not,
I think that's part of the executive.
That's what I thought, but he said he only
no,
wanted
that's
to
a
talk
separate
about
issue for the executive.
separate issues.
It's still a personnel issue, but. Can you go?
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, no, go ahead.
So I don't know if anybody had any questions about what I sent or.
I think, well, I know on the emails, I think everyone was in agreement.
Yeah.
So I think that's all we just need to do.
I don't know if Bob had some question about it.
I guess I was prepared to talk.
That's, I was too, Bob. I thought it was all going to be at the executive.
Yeah, to go over the numbers and how that's going to require an amendment to the salary ordinance. And so I had some questions on that. I differ with some of the numbers, and so.
But directionally, I think we all agreed with the support. So let's talk about it at executive meeting.
That's what I anticipated.
That's what I thought too, Richard. I'm sorry about that because I thought that's what you were wanting.
So, okay. That's all I have for that now.
So then you're going to want another meeting to hire the other guy afterwards, right?
Yeah, because I'm short staffed at the moment, so.
You were looking for approval to hire?
Yeah.
But you were looking for it at a salary level that we have to talk about.
Which we'd have to amend the salary ordinance.
Correct.
So, basically, there's nothing we can do. No, there's nothing we can do about it. Until we-
That's right, Dr.
Okay. Well, Richard, get it done. So what are you gonna do for the next month, Richard?
Drive her downtown in a police car.
We'll figure it out.
Well, can we approve this before the next meeting if we decide?
If you have a special meeting, you just can't take action at the executive meeting.
Yeah.
And the reason, I mean, he's looking at a new annual salary of $54,000, which is not in, that's above anything you have in your salary ordinance. So whether it's creating a new position or not, that was a concern of mine. And then as far as going over the total budget, I had a little different numbers than what that was, but it's completely up to you guys. But these are just things I really thought, because of what Jerry indicated, that we were
That's what
talking
I,
executive
and
meeting.
I'm sorry, that's my fault, because I thought that's what you were gonna talk about.
Can we make a decision and based on approval of the salary?
Well, that's kind
Is
of,
that a slippery slope?
we approved a hiring, we just don't know what we're paying yet. Because that's what you would be doing. And I mean, I suppose you could give an indication that, yes, we want you, we just can't officially hire you at a set salary until it's discussed. So I don't know if that helps the guy, if he's gonna, I mean, we have done that once before when somebody's looking at another job, we gave him the indication that you're probably gonna come on board, we just can't approve a salary yet. So you could do that if that helps the situation.
I mean, it is what it is. I was hoping to get it done before next month's meeting, obviously, but that just puts me another month behind, so. But that's whatever you guys decide.
Well, not if we call a special meeting. I mean, it wouldn't take long to take care of it.
We could call special meeting, be
Yeah,
in and out
I mean,
in 10 minutes.
I'd rather do that than have you short for another month.
That would work. We still can discuss it in the executive meeting, because I have another issue too, but,
Okay, let's do that.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
that's all I have for now then.
Okay, I give everybody a copy of the bylaws. We've made some amendments to it. I want to have a hiring board. But previously, somebody just bring a friend in. He talked to guys and put them on for years probation, and we really need to have more specifics to what's expected of the person and have them agree to it before they start. So I'm not by myself at night making runs. I need more help. Staffing has been a real problem getting guys out. The EMS thing really made it hard on us. We lost a lot of people because of the EMS calls. Everybody want to be called out there 3 times a night. They want to be firefighters, and it became basically the workers. We load the patients, they take them to the hospital. And it's became a real problem with staffing. So hopefully, if we can do this, I plan to put applications here so they can come into the city building, pick one up.
No, that's not right.
If we do, they'll go before, we'll have 3 members that they'll sit down and talk with. We'll have a set of questions they'll answer. Then our people answer their questions. Then they'll come to me, we'll decide on whether this person's a fit or not. Then they'll go before the membership.
And you have the hiring board in the,
I've got the people that, there'll be 3 people that'll be appointed as the hiring board, 3 people at a time. Be people that have got some seniority departments or have knowledge of hiring people, dealing with other people, that work in personnel type things. And everybody should be working on the same set of questions.
so it's on page 4, the change.
Article 5.
So do we need to take any kind of action on this?
Just do basically approve bylaws. We've always brought them down.
I've not seen it.
You have a copy.
Oh, is that what?
It's on your desk.
Oh, the mission statement? Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
It's all right. I tried to lay one up for everybody when I gave them.
So it's on page 4, the change you said is being made to the bylaws.
Okay, one, you are now the Cambridge City Volunteer Fire Department, Inc. Now,
Okay.
when you were a separate entity, you are now just the department of the town.
Okay, we changed that, yeah. All right.
I guess I've never seen bylaws for a town department. It's a little bit different. This is the type of thing that normally, if you'd been a separate entity, you would have. I guess before I'd have council approve this, because you are at least an employee of the town.
Right.
Everybody else is just a volunteer.
Right.
And so when you start talking about how they're elected or any, do you need this before next month?
No, I'd like to have the application to at least start taking applications.
Sure.
The bylaws, they're not in a hurry to get them done as long as you're in agreement that we want to do it this way.
I'd like some time.
That's a good idea. Makes sense.
I want to write, I mean, I'm not an expert on writing bylaws already, so I just bumble through.
But as the department head, he can determine how he hires.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Especially when they volunteers.
Yeah. Right. You don't have to approve their salary.
Yeah.
But we do have to approve their.
What's your number that you want to stay at?
We need to stay, we can pay 25.
25.
That's all
So
we
then,
do.
if you get
We
new
need
ones,
that.
you're going to get rid of some of the
Some
ones that
people
do
are going to
nothing.
leave if they don't want to participate. It should be one guy taking all of our Christmas lights down. That's pretty bad.
I just want to make sure they're not inconsistent with any personnel policy, inconsistent with any state law for volunteers, et cetera.
I don't want to answer hard questions, so you fix it.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
I'll put
I
that
think
on
everybody's in
the agenda.
agreement that, yeah, move forward with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We've got a couple, we're through for a couple grants. I didn't write them. We'll bring Matt in next week or next month to answer questions on it. They're matching grants. One's for a washer and dryer, basically a washer and dryer. It's called an extractor. They're designed for fire gear to pull the carcinogens out of the coats and pants. We're not required to have one yet, but at some point in time we will. And now we got an opportunity to get half of it paid for. So we want to try to move on that. Then the second one was just for some fire hose. I'll have him come, and that way he can go over the details of the other grants and make sure all the questions have been asked. Bob and Sherry was involved when he was writing the grants. They've seen them, but I want to make sure that you guys have an opportunity to ask questions.
Okay.
I think that was.
So you're just going to have him here at the May meeting?
Yeah, I'll bring him next one. And then a little bit on Eclipse. We had a good turnout for the Eclipse. We made a little money, and we got a lot of stuff left over for our other events the rest of the year.
But that's okay.
And that's good. That's a very good thing.
You guys really came out ahead.
I think it was a really good learning process. We learned that if there's an emergency, we can feed quite a bit of the town.
Yeah.
We have the the equipment, and people where we're set up, we feed a lot of people because especially the generator. If there's a disaster, we can operate, and I think we're about the only place in town that can operate that way. Don't know any other organizations that have the generators, so.
Right.
So that was a good learning process.
Good.
Thank you.
That's good.
Kim?
Okay, first thing I got here is Jim had contacted me about the corner of the building and to get it priced, and I got a quote from ML Taylor Construction to fix that is $1,525. And I know we talked about, instead of when Jim talked to me about it, instead of, going and trying to get 3 or 4 quotes in just to get a price on it and get it taken care of so we can move on with fixing anything else that we may have to in the back in that room. So I guess I just want your approval to go ahead and contact this company and have them get it on their books to
So
fix.
what are they actually going to do?
They'll remove the gutter and straighten it up and then replace it, but then also removing any rotten wood that's in that corner and put up new fascia and soffit. And then they'll paint it to match everything else.
So just so everybody, a little refresher is that this back corner of the building, there's water's been coming in there. It's actually getting into the building back here and causing some issues. And my comment to Ken was we need to get that repaired right away because it's probably is causing mold issues.
Well, the mold's gonna have to be cleaned up on the inside too.
And with getting this fixed, that will tell us for sure if that's where the water's coming for sure or not, or whether we got another issue.
So this has to be fixed anyway.
This has to be fixed, and that, and it's the first step to determining if that's where the water's coming from or not. If we get this fixed and there's water still coming in, then we know we got another issue back there on that corner that we need to look into.
So how long has this been going on?
I mean, I can't remember when it was hit. It's been a while. So it's probably got rather wood.
Yeah.
So where would those funds come from, Sherry?
I don't know. Because there's not much in the city building fund, so I don't know.
City that or built, I mean, I've got a building improvement fund too that I operate out of too.
I mean, it's gotta be done.
Yeah, it's gotta be done.
be done.
Totally agree with that. And I wonder if it'll be more than 1525 if they gotta
That's
fix that.
That's the
right
price
of
he
wood.
gave me.
I mean, if they get in there and fix the right of wood.
That's the price he came and looked at it
Okay.
and everything, and that's what he gave me the quote from, is from coming and looking at everything. And he's got in here, replace
Of the water, then we can keep it.
Who is it that you got?
It's ML Taylor Construction. Rick West, he lives up on top of the hill.
Parkway.
Parkway,
Yeah, up on Parkway, he works for them. And they're out of Newcastle.
Newcastle.
We've been around a long time.
Yeah.
I'd entertain a motion to approve that if anybody.
Make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the quote to repair the city building as Ken presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, you can move forward with that, Ken.
The second thing I got here is in Well House 1 here in town, and then the two, Well 1 and 2 out at the industrial park. A couple of years ago, Chris tried, he got some stuff to paint the piping, the floor, and that, it's just not held up. And that, and so when the guy that Peerless used for painting the piping that they put in with this project, Chris talked to him and he got us a price on refinishing our floors and putting on, an industrial coating on these pipes, water lines that are in the well houses, because they are starting to pit just from the condensation and everything, because you can't keep paint. What we've tried to paint with won't stay on and that. And he gave us a price to do all this work for $11,614.85. And I'd like to get that approved so we could, like I said, it's basically maintenance stuff that needs to be done in those buildings.
That come out of the contingency funds?
Water.
Pardon?
You have to probably come out of water.
Okay.
Now, what's that gonna gain us, Ken? I mean, does that just protect the pipes from?
Protect the pipe for one thing, because like I said, where they're pitting, if that just keeps, next thing you walk in there and you got a water spraying out the pit hole. And that just, because it's just gonna keep corroding.
Do you have a written quote for this?
Yes, I do. There.
Let's see it.
But part of what he'll be doing, like on the floor, the coating on the floor, he'll remove it and grind the floor to prep it and everything to take the coating that he'll put on.
We could take the tax off, that's $800 almost.
It's got tax on it. Yeah.
So a lot of this is working on the floor though too, right? Not just the
The
pipe.
floor and the pipe, yeah.
And what's the benefit of doing the floor?
Safety reasons. It's just the bare concrete.
Let's see it. It's a lot of money.
We needed to fix the roof on the fire department for 5 years,
Yeah.
4 years. Yeah,
Which I saw a guy up there today, must be getting a quote. Yeah, there was a guy up there when I left.
Leaking everywhere now.
Yeah, the training room's gonna be a mess in there.
Underwater.
Yeah, we're gonna have mold there if we don't, inside the ceiling maybe.
Part.
So what if he just does like the pipes and not the floor?
That's what I was wondering.
And then, like, is there anything we can put on the floor? I mean, I know they have that paint with the sand or grit in it, so.
Well, the big thing he's doing with the floor, he's gonna grind it down and prep it to adhere. I mean, you know, yeah, we can put something on the floor, but we'll be, in another year, we'll be at the same spot again. You know, paint not staying, you know, won't stay and that.
Unless you use an epoxy, but even that would go.
Like, you know, he uses like, it's an epoxy that's an industrial.
It's a jute part.
I'd like to at least table this for a month and see if maybe Gary and I can come in and take a look at it, just so we have a better idea of what we're looking at. Is that okay? Is that okay with you, Gary? Good.
And the only other thing I had, I wanted to get approval to hire Jared Sheets for the other part-time position. Jared Sheets.
We always had two, don't we? I mean, for the
Yeah, we had two last year.
Three.
Yeah, we,
Yeah, three when you count Johnny.
Okay.
And then two.
That.
At the normal rates, I suppose.
Yeah.
So do we have to approve that since it's an ongoing thing?
I think we do, don't we?
Yeah, I think you've historically just approved who he was gonna hire. I mean, I was just checking to make sure it is in the budget that way. Yeah, the pay scale for temporary help shall be at a minimum of $11 per hour. Is that what you are?
I'll make a motion, we hire Jared Sheets for temp, right? Okay.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve Jared Sheets for the part-time. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
That's all I have.
Yeah.
I just have one thing. You approved, this is the amended ordinance for SR, school resource officers and their vacation time. Verbally made the amendment at the last month's meeting. Recall that we are leaving their sick time the same, but just limiting that regardless of their years of service, just getting the 1 week or 40 hours of vacation time on an annual basis because of being off during the summer. So I'm assuming this is what, as the minutes reflected, was the way amended. So this is just so that you have a copy for your records. Here is the original. Again, the changes are just what's in bold. So you're saying under vacations, 3614 is still in there, but it says that for each full-time appointed, other than school resource officers, that's what their vacation time is. Top of page 2 is where the new paragraph, school resource officers, regardless of their length of service, shall only be allowed 1 week or 40 hours of vacation time or use of personal days during any one calendar year. Yep. So, that's what you approved, so if that's the case, here's the original to sign.
Okay. Oops, sorry.
Jim, one thing.
Yes.
Bob, if you have an opportunity, we need to look at that ordinance again for the false alarms.
Oh, okay.
We've been going back up to Monica a lot.
Okay. I will take a look at that.
Thank you.
And that's all I have.
Oh. Okay, that's all I had.
We already voted.
We voted,
With
just
the
got signed.
changes. This is just the changes. All right, is that it? Well,
That's it.
Mike, you have anything?
I think I'm good right now, thank you.
Debbie?
No, I don't.
No.
No, shit.
I do. I'm a little concerned when they go to tear down particular properties on Front Street, that there are a lot of animals there. And then I think we should consider looking or contacting animal control. I don't know, a conservation officer.
I mean, I'm an animal lover. I hate to see, you know, if they could be as many replaced as possible, or, I mean, there are a lot of animals living there, as, you know, they know. And I'm just hoping that they can get some some professional in there to help with that, because when those places go, it's going to be bedlam as far as animals are concerned, for them and for the neighborhood. And I was just wondering, I'm a little bothered by the gentleman who wants to tear down the house. I'm assuming that he would have to come and get a demolition permit from you. I mean, I tore down a house next to me, and I know what is involved in the safety of tearing down a house, and he did a great job. But for someone who's not used to tearing down houses, I mean, to save a buck, I'm a little concerned about that process of him going out there with a sledgehammer and start tearing it down when it could be a safety issue, and the animals too. So that's one thing I had to bring up.
We struggle getting dogs picked up.
Yeah, so animal control will not come take care of that problem. And most likely DNR will not either. We'd have to hire, it'd have to be a private nuisance animal control person, most likely.
Then I think,
That's usually live traps.
I got some live traps. Do you want some animals on your farm?
I've got cow hogs all over my property.
Not a live trap, no, it'd be. Guns work better.
Not in town, you're not.
Oh, that's right, I forgot.
I told you that.
I forgot
there is an
you
ordinance.
did. I forgot about that.
There is an ordinance.
I was under the weather then. When you told-
You're not.
Would somebody like Jonathan Ferris, would he, you think, trap them?
It's
Or Tony Smith does.
Yeah, right down here.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if Tony still does that. There's some regulation with that. You can't just, not anybody can just go up there and trap.
Well, Jonathan he's an animal, whatever he is.
If he has the correct permits for that, maybe he
Yeah.
could.
Tony had him at one time, though.
He did, I'm not sure he still does, but, like Tri-State Pest Control down here does that sort of thing. Obviously, they do it for a fee. But
We can look into that cost.
It gets costly, they'll charge it per day whether they catch anything or not.
Right.
Those traps.
yeah, generally there's a setup fee and then,
I wouldn't want him coming over in my
No,
house.
me neither, I'd be scared.
I would too.
We've already dug underneath the fence.
there's a lot of,
Getting in your pool.
No, not into the pool. They just dug underneath the fence, got in the yard and chewed up her
They're all over the
sweet
neighborhood.
potato
they're
plants.
The Gray House has one underneath their porch.
Or more.
Groundhogs, mostly groundhogs. There's
Yes.
probably some raccoons.
Ugh.
There's some cats. There's certainly birds and bats. It's like Noah's Ark over there.
Yeah, we have seen coons come out.
Except for Noah's Ark is probably in better condition even now.
Yeah.
Well, what can we do?
I don't know if someone comes in, if he comes in for a demolition permit, I guess then that would be, if he's actually going to, I assume he knows he has to get insurance.
Yeah, we told him we did.
They've been down at your house, Sherry.
If they didn't
The ground
No, I ran away.
do they have to have like
There was one, and it left.
Yeah. What did you tell it? When
Said,
you
"Better
were
get out of
there.
here, better get out of here. And it left.
I shot one time, three little babies came out of the porch, had to feed him until he grew up and take him out there.
I don't know who it could be.
I fed him until he grew up.
I just brought that up.
I shut their mouth down.
About it, but I don't know what to do about it.
Shut their mouth as they go. I could take a picture of these three little babies. They might be babies.
That's true.
Like, looking for somebody to help.
We're smart about things.
Yes, we are.
Maybe we could ask the best stuffer by the contractor, but
That's what I'm wondering, if we couldn't put something with the contract that they make their best effort to.
I'm sure they've done this before.
They probably
Yeah.
If you're tearing down an old house, you've got animals in it, for sure.
And there's actually probably rules statewide for bat control too. That's protected.
Yeah, don't find an Indiana brown bat in there, that's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
Do not find one of those.
So let's just put that in the contract. I mean, best effort to
Protect the species.
whatever, protect wildlife. I don't know. I'm not sure how to handle this one.
I don't know, they're bad.
Well, that would boil down to the specs that Ken's put together to send out for bids.
Right.
You could put in a phrase to make best efforts not to, harm unduly any animals in there. That might throw them.
On the way to the yard.
We'll see what they say.
What's unduly?
It's usually, up to the homeowner, property owners to take care of that situation, remedy that situation, whether they hire somebody private or whatever.
Well, except that we're gonna be the ones hiring that one to tear it down.
They didn't have no money.
Okay. Jim? Two quick things. On Blake, Marty Troxel has offered to the owner or whoever does the demolition of the building next to the liquor store, he will pay the town or whomever an amount of money to salvage. He asked me if I would bring that forward to the group. I think he said it's happened once before that he's contracted with the town or somebody to do salvage. He would, so it's not, but it's a certain number. I think he said $490 some dollars. It's below the $500 number that he'll pay to go in and get doors or windows. I don't know how this works. I just thought
Once again, that would be something in the specs,
to put it in
because sometimes they, part of their bid will be, but they want to be allowed to take anything away. So you need to determine whether you're going to put that in there, but do one way or the other. Are they allowed to take anything, or must they, does this town reserve the right to hire out or pay?
And they may not want somebody on the property anyway.
So that's, probably they'll want the ability to take it.
Salvage. So
Out there.
that's just for Ken, if you could have that as part of the spec, that'd be great. Second thing was, I was approached by a vendor or a service provider that is affected by the ordinance that we passed. It's a code now. For collecting fees at the park for placement of material. And he wanted to know if, I told him I could change the ordinance again, that would probably be the opinion of the group, but he asked if he could enter into a separate agreement with the town to affect what he would have to pay for that service. So it's somebody that comes in and does a lot of deposit of plant material into the cemetery, and he's afraid it's going to affect his pricing for the people that he deals with in the local area. I just thought I told him I would bring it up to the group to see if we have any interest in creating separate agreements with vendors.
It's going to be awfully difficult legally, so that when you have a public service and you charge X amount to the public and say, yeah, but this guy, if you bring us enough, we'll only charge you X, gets really dicey as whether you can do that or not. You'd have, if you did that, you'd have to offer it to everybody who brought that kind of bulk in.
Right, so that's what I was looking for, is that kind of response.
You can't individualize that fee.
Okay. So I'm assuming we don't want to move forward with that.
I would. I don't think the fee's out of the ordinary personally.
I just said I would talk to you guys about it, so I'll get back to you with your lodging. It's on record, but I'll go ahead and talk to you as well.
I think if it shows that anybody that brings in 20 loads a year or something can be that, that's fine, you just can't individualize it.
All right, okay, thank you. With that, motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
I'll be able to look at one.